Hello, neighbors. We have an anonymous question today. Dear Mr. Norseman, I have recently lost my son. Do the ancestors have any wisdom on how to get through outliving your progeny? I would like to give you an example of how the great Egil Skallagrimsson got through the loss of his son, Egil of Egil Saga. Forgive his fate and forget, I will not. Odin, not Egil, enjoys him forever. He has stolen my son, my sapperling growth. From my wife's womb, the warrior's seed, the spear god shared spoils with me. My path was to Odin, he gave me aid. Now that maker of mystic runes only mocks me, voids all my victories. That breaker of vows, one of many poems written by the famous skald, Egil. Let's break it down a little bit, shall we? In the beginning, he says forgive his fate, an admission by the author that his son was fated to pass when he did. That being said, in the next entry, he admits it's unforgivable to him, establishing that perhaps the ancestors can accept fate, but expect more. Something that could translate to the modern day of, we never expect they're taken as quickly as they are. We never expect them to go, now do we? Now then, he says that Odin will enjoy him forever, and that his own father Egil will not, establishing that he believed that his son died in battle and would be going to Valhalla. Despite accepting his son's fate, he does not. He says he's stolen, only further cementing that he expected his son to be around further and that it was his fate to do so. Very relatable. The sapperling growth from his wife's womb, a beautiful way of putting his offspring. The spear god shared spoils with me, says Egil, an admission that he enjoyed the bond he had with the deity, while it was good. But because his son died in battle, and Odin is a god of battle, the blame lays at his feet, ignoring fate and the Norns. This is only further cemented when he said he gave his oath to Odin, and Odin gave him his aid. Egil then goes on to say that Odin mocks him and voids his victories, perhaps an indication of how grieving can take the joy out of everything. Now then, that last line, where he calls Odin that breaker of vows, or an oath breaker, I cannot belay just how serious that is. Calling someone an oath breaker or vow breaker, well, that can lead to a holmgang. It's a grave insult. Holmgang being a one-on-one duel that could be either for points or to the unaliving. This, of course, never happened, and the poem was allowed to exist, and was handed down. Egil would go on to live to quite an old age, allegedly in his 90s. My point being, Egil kept moving forward. So must we. But in closing, it's okay to be angry. It's okay to grieve, even if it's just writing a poem to get it out of your system. So get the words and the feelings out. Create something in their honor, much like Egil did. Put forth an expression of sorrow. It's easy to overlook things while things are good. They won't always be, though. Like the ebb and flow of the tides, this too will come and go. It's a part of life, just like mourning. I raise my cup to honor your son. I think we all should. No parent should outlive their child. And yet, it still happens. We just never think it'll happen to us. To your son, may you find them someday. And when you meet, may you have many great tales of the fate that continued after their time on Midgard. There's still work to be done.